Kennedy is located on Nevins Lake. We're in a city called Shingleton, Michigan, and we're about 25 to 30 minutes away from Munising, Michigan, which is the largest big town for the Upper Peninsula. And that's where we go for any grocery shopping needs. It's where the nearest hospital is and all of that. But our mail goes to Shingleton. So the address is here, but it will also be shared with you in the family guide. So don't worry about copying it down now. Mail can be sent to our mailbox, but we ask that you don't send packages because we can't really, our mail systems are really, it's hard for them to get packages to camp. So we ask that you don't send them. So we're on Nevins Lake in Shingleton, right outside of Munising, across the road from Pictured Rocks. And I'm just letting some people in from the waiting room. It's a small Jewish summer camp experience deep in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. I like to explain it a little bit like a kibbutz. So because I'd say one of the largest differences between Moss and Kennedy is, we don't have a kitchen staff, we don't have cleaning staff, and we're really, it's for the campers and the staff to create on their own the kind of community that they want to live in. So that responsibility is awesome, but it also gives campers agency over what kind of experience they want to have at Kennedy. And that's really about, for campers, pushing their comfort zones and trying things that might be new and having some growth at the same time. So this is an old blueprint of Camp Kennedy. And right now it looks a little bit different, but I like to show this to show kind of how far things have come. This is, over here is where we enter from our driveway. So we're right off of a road called H58, but our driveway is a half-mile long. So for people that maybe want to go on runs or walks, you can measure length by the length of the driveway. Over here is where the warehouse is, where some sleeping quarters are for campers. Volleyball court, there's actually a basketball court here now. And our bathhouse is now in this area where there are trees. Back when this blueprint was made, we didn't have bathrooms, we had outhouses, but now we have a full bathhouse with showers and toilets and the like. So that's new. And over here, there's a fire pit. This is our main lodge, and more sleeping quarters are there. And then we have our smith shop here. That's where lots of arts and crafts can happen. This is our garage where storage for trips is and where our dark room is. And this is an old boathouse. It's no longer there, but I like to show this to kind of share where changes happened. So I spoke a little bit about growth, and that can look a few different ways. Maybe it's trying cooking for the first time, learning how to cut an onion for the first time, or maybe it's pushing yourself to paddle a little harder one day or hike a little harder on a trip. Or maybe it's, getting used to not using watches. So we don't use time at Kennedy, and we ask that you leave your watches at home. And that can be really hard at the start, but by the end, it's really actually incredibly freeing and amazing experience. And yeah, stepping away from technology is another way to kind of push your comfort zone. We don't have Wi-Fi, internet, or cell service. We have one landline, and that's devoted to regular communication with our support systems. So that includes our social worker, Danielle Tagai, and Gail, who is our director of health, and anyone back in the Moss land that can be helpful to us. So it's different, and it's new, but it's what makes Kennedy so special and what makes it so unique. The electronics that we do allow at Kennedy are digital cameras and GoPros. So we want you to be able to capture your experience and all of that. So definitely feel free to bring those items. We do have places to charge them if needed. So as this map shows, we are on a peninsula, which means we're really desolate. We're not really near a lot of our neighbors, and it makes it so we have our kind of private little space. Sometimes we'll see neighbors out on the lake, but yeah, we make it kind of hard to find so that we can kind of have that private experience, and that's what makes Kennedy what it is. A little bit about the history. So Kennedy was before it was Camp Kennedy, it was owned and built by the governor of Michigan, Governor Greene, back in the 1920s. He built Camp Kennedy as his hunting lodge. So you can kind of see some of the remnants of Governor Greene's life on the property, on the walls at camp. So there's some photos of him on the walls and stuff like that. When he passed away, the property was auctioned off and won by Ed Levy, who was the founder of the Fresh Air Society. And then it eventually became a summer camp in the 1960s under Tamarack Camps. And since then, Kennedy's age groups, session lengths, and trip destinations have changed a lot, but what does stay the same is the rich history and the beauty that life in the Upper Peninsula teaches our campers. It's still kind of this desolate experience, and it's really what makes things so unique. You can walk around the lodge for hours and see all of the history that's on the walls. Each camper will sign their name on a birch bark, and you can walk around the lodge and see people from the past, family members, or people you know that went to camp and when they went to camp. And that's just kind of what brings all Kennedy communities back together. So this is a view of what kind of a lot of the roads in the Upper Peninsula look like. And those are the birch barks I was talking about that are all over the walls of the lodge. Here's a view of our Smith shop that I showed. And this is a view of the garage and the main lodge where sleeping quarters, the family room, and the kitchen are. I'm going to do a virtual video tour after I go through all of this, but some photos. This is our back bay, a beautiful place for sunsets. A view out onto our lake from our dock. And so to hop over to trips, these are some photos from the Pictured Rocks. So we will be exploring the Pictured Rocks because it's right across the way. We're about a 15-minute drive from a lot of these amazing views. We'll be doing day hikes and Avdallah on the beach and anything of the like, a beach day, all on Pictured Rocks. It's really, truly one of the most special parts of Kennedy is that we have the Pictured Rocks so close. And our backcountry trips are going to be to the Porcupine Mountains on the other side of the Upper Peninsula. That will be our hiking trip. And then our canoe trip will be up at Agri Outpost Camp. So how that works is we will pack for the trips as a whole camp and we'll drive over in a bus to the Porcupine Mountains or up to Agri. And then from there, you'll go off onto your trips. And then we come back together and then drive back to camp together. And the hiking trip is 4 days and 3 nights, and the canoe trip is 3 days and 2 nights. So campers will be carrying backpacks and exploring and learning how to portage, and they'll be canoeing. The days they're longer days, but it's nothing that anyone can't do. Everyone can do it. We do ask that if you are not, if you're not involved in sports or anything like that, that you really do start to prepare physically for camp life. And that really can just look like a walk outside each day as the weather gets nicer, and any light exercise to kind of get your body used to moving if that's not something you usually do day to day. And it's also a great time to break in your hiking boots. So if you don't break in your hiking boots, it's easier to get blisters out on the trail. So you really want to start doing that sooner than later. Our gear list is on the website. You can find it under Camp Kennedy. And we just released a video, which is also on the website, talking about some of the items that you'll need. Parents, feel free to reach out to me if you're not sure about which brand to get or if you want any advice on purchasing. We also have a gear share program. An email went out yesterday, but you can reach out and request certain items that you maybe don't want to purchase if you don't think you're going to use it more than just this year. And it's kind of it's a sharing program that we've offered for years. So information about that is on our website as well. This is what some of the beaches up in the Upper Peninsula look like. And a view from a hiking trail on the Porcupine Mountains. So back at camp on the trips, campers will have leadership opportunities to take the lead on cooking meals or take the lead on the hike for the day or be that leader, the head canoe. So if that's something that's new, it's also another way to step out of your comfort zone. More photos from trips. Just like at Camp Mosh, Judaism is an important part of our programming. So Kennedy is a kosher camp and all food provided is kosher. We use different dishes for meat and dairy meals in the kitchen. We celebrate Shabbat under the stars and we don't travel on Shabbat as well. Sorry about that. Another photo of what trips look like. And this is a great example of what Shabbat can look like at camp. So campers and staff together will create Shabbat services and really engage in that Jewish experience together. But like I said, it's all about agency and control over how the community looks. So we like to have campers and staff create that together, and it looks different every year. A little bit about forms. Forms are out and we ask that they are turned in by May 1st. If you're not going to be able to get them in by the 1st, just let us know and let us know when we can expect them by. All forms are in Camp Brain, and if you have any questions about forms, please reach out. The only form that isn't in Camp Brain is the border crossing form, which needs to be notarized. If you don't have access to a notary, we do have one in the office. Reach out to me and we can set up a time where that notary is going to be here and you can come in and fill out your form and get it notarized here. Otherwise, it can just be sent into the office, but we do ask that you get that in and make sure that you have an updated passport so that we can cross the border into Canada. So now I'm going to take the time and I'm going to pass things over to Gail to talk a little bit about medical, and then I'm going to speak a little bit more and then we'll open things up to questions.
Thanks, Rachel. I just wanted to review the forms again real quick. I know Rachel brought them up. So on Camp Brain are all the required forms that you need. Well, there'll be a few more added to there, but all the basic medical, mental health forms are all there. It's really important that you fill those out as best you can. The more information you share with us, the easier it makes us to help your child have the most successful summer that they can. So any medical information, any mental health information, if you want to have a talk with myself or Danielle, our social worker, just send us an email and we'll make sure you get in touch with the right person. So you have those forms. The next most important form is the healthcare provider form, which, as Rachel said, is due by May 1st. All the local pediatricians have a copy of that form, but you can also download one for yourself if you'd like from the Camp Brain website. So if you can get those in, and again, medication, just like in previous years, is going through AMAC Pharmacy. All medication has to be ordered through AMAC. Let me say that again. All medication needs to be ordered through AMAC. Unless your child has an inhaler or an EpiPen, and those you can bring to the bus and hand them in. The way you order the medications through AMAC is you enter it into Camp Brain and you have your pediatrician e-scribe the prescriptions just like they would e-scribe speaking to them every day, and anything comes up, any questions, you just let us know because we're in constant contact with them. I think Rachel's back now.
I'm back. So it didn't kick me out. It didn't kick everyone out.
Nope, just you left and came back.
I was really nervous that it was going to end the whole meeting. So Jewish Federation Wi-Fi, not always the best. Thank you, Gail. Thanks for taking over for a second. So That's a little bit about forms. There were a couple questions in the chat that I want to take into account. So do all campers go on both trips? Yes, all campers will be going on both trips. So I can talk a little bit about the flow of the session. So each session starts with about a week at camp, which includes at Camp Kennedy, which includes trainings for campers, starting KP groups, getting to know camp, unpacking and all of that. And then we go on our first trip. In between the two trips, there's a little bit of a break where campers will have a town day, have the opportunity to go explore Munising, get to call home. So campers on that day will alert you, parents before that day will call home. And if they're not able to reach you while they're in town, we'll make sure that every camper reaches a parent during that break. And that's also a time where campers will have the opportunity to do their laundry. So when you're buying clothes for the trips, you only need enough for one trip because we'll be doing laundry in between. After town day, we have a couple days we'll celebrate Shabbat as a full camp. And then the second trip will go out and then come back. And then at that point, there's a little bit over a week left back at camp. So for those few weeks back at camp, there's a bunch of programming that happens similar to at Moss, but on a smaller scale, theme days and lots of really fun programs, day hikes, beach days, exploring the Upper Peninsula and all of that. So that's a little bit about the flow of the program. Let me see if there's anything else in the chat. So yes, every camper needs their passport and they need to bring it on the first day of camp. I think there was a question before I got logged out about if we need a copy of the passport separate from what's uploaded into CampBrain, and the answer is no. If you have uploaded a photo copy of the passport into CampBrain, you are fine. But yes, all campers will need a passport to cross the border into Canada. If you have questions about how to obtain that, and if you need help on how to obtain an express passport, the internet's helpful, but I also am happy to help with that. So like I mentioned, we have Gail as well as Danielle, Gail on physical health and Danielle on mental health, and they are in contact with camp every day. So like Gail mentioned, we're happy to set up calls with myself, with Gail, with Danielle prior to camp, and we are in communication consistently to make sure that all campers are safe up there. It's really important, especially it's a little bit different than Moss, we're farther away, but our staff are really well equipped to take care of your campers on top of the team that we're in contact with every day. So a little bit about staff training. We will be starting together on June 1st up until first session starts, training staff. Each staff will be trained in wilderness first responding and lifeguarding. Wilderness first responding is training that really helps staff be able to take care of campers up until we can receive higher medical treatment. So whether that be communicating with Gail or getting campers to a hospital, staff have that wilderness first responder training. So if anything were to happen while we're back at Camp Kennedy, like I said, we're about a half hour from the nearest hospital, and we have a really good relationship with the urgent care and the hospital in Munising. Same thing with in the Porcupine Mountains, we know where the closest hospital is, and same with in Wawa, Ontario, where the canoe trip is. If anything were to come up and campers needed to go to the hospital or anything like that, we would be in communication with you through the entire process, myself and Gail. And that open line of communication is consistent. So before I open things up to the group, there was a question in yesterday's meeting about sending money with campers. We will have pop stops and town day. So there will be a couple times where campers will have the opportunity to purchase snacks and a lunch. So we will be releasing in the family guide the amount that we recommend. Nothing so crazy, but if they want any trinkets in town or anything like that. Questions about showers and bathrooms. Campers can shower as much as they want. I know there's some rumors that go around every year that like nobody showers ever at Kennedy. That's not true. But yeah, so campers can shower when they want, and there's 3 showers in each bathroom. They're similar to what things look like back at Moss. in the bathrooms. I spoke about mail and cameras. So to answer some of the questions in the chat, do they need special clothes and items for theme days? So we don't ask for specific items. I would say anything fun that you want to bring, and shirts of different colors. So similar to how things look for Color War back, or for Maccabia back at Moss. Any fun clothes for theme days are good, but we don't specifically ask for anything. What does Tamarack currently consider fully vaccinated for COVID? So Gail, do you want to take this one?
Right, fully vaccinated. There's a little confusion between fully vaccinated and up to date. The CDC is using up to date now, which means your 2 initial vaccines plus the new bivalent vaccine, the booster. And if you speak to your pediatrician, they will guide you to what's appropriate for your child.
The question about gender breakdown. So both sessions have a bit more girl campers than boy campers. That's something that sometimes happens. It's just based on who signed up. And both sessions have, yes, more girl campers. There are some spots left for boy campers if you know anyone, either session. But so it's different every year. Last year we had a bunch of male campers and less female campers. Do they need to bring warm jackets since it's cold and windy there? Yeah, so it does get a little bit cold at night up there. What you'll see is during the day, a lot of times campers will be, in shorts and a t-shirt, and by the nighttime, people are in sweatshirt and sweatpants. So check out the packing list. We do recommend bringing a fleece jacket, and you can always layer. I don't think anyone needs to bring their winter coat by any means, but because we're farther north and even at Agri, it does get a little bit cold. So those are most of the questions out of the chat. I'm going to take you on a quick virtual tour. We have a video of Kennedy's property, and then I'll open things up to any more questions. Of course, it's not loading. Anyone, yeah, if you want to unmute or put questions in the chat, feel free to do so. If there are no more questions, I'll give people a couple minutes and I'll stay on after if you have any follow-up questions. I'm so incredibly excited for everyone to get to experience Kennedy this summer. It's one of my favorite places in the world. We are here, open lines of communication. We are full steam ahead, excited for the summer. It's really, really just pumped to get campers up to camp. The mail situation, someone just asked. So we have a mailbox. You can send mail up and campers can send mail down. We do ask that you don't send any packages, but we have a mailbox and mail is delivered daily. Oh, photos, that's something that I didn't talk about. So we do take photos and upload them to SmugMug, like in past years at Moss. It is a little bit less often because things, we don't have electricity up there and things are far away, but staff, when they go into town, are able to send the photos and they're uploaded weekly. So you'll get to see photos 3 to 4 times each session of your campers. Try one more time to get into this virtual tour. So we don't do any emails for, yeah, only snail mail, as Gail said.
I think I missed it about, so if you're going first session to Kennedy July 4th, do they need July 4th close? Like,
So we do participate on July 4th in the parade that happens in Munising for first session. It's really fun. Definitely feel free to send stuff for July 4th. We celebrate. Usually we do a theme and we decorate the bus. So that might not necessarily be red, white, and blue, but definitely you can send stuff and we celebrate and we go and well, I'm not going to say everything that we do. We'll leave a little bit of it as a surprise. But yeah, feel free to send those 4th of July clothes. And it looks like I was able to get into the virtual tour. So this is the warehouse where the male campers will be sleeping this summer. This video was taken during pre-camp last year. So camp looks really empty. There's a nice space to hang out with couches and a table and bunks. And then the male staff sleep in the loft above. Here's our kitchen where campers will learn how to cook and do their KP groups together. A little bit of the lodge. You can see all of the history on the walls in the dining room. That's where we all sit and eat together. Family room, we have really comfy couches, our fake fire pit. That's where the female campers stay, which is attached to the lodge. We call it the headquarters. And the female staff have a room kind of off to the side in there. Our back porch that overlooks the lake where we have ping pong and we do trip food packing. We have a dark room, which is really cool, where campers can learn how to develop photos that we take at camp. There's a bunch of photos all over camp from all of the decades that were developed in that dark room. So there's Smith Shop, which is kind of like Amanut back at Moss, where campers can do woodworking and painting and lots of fun, creative, artistic things. And we have a bunch of kayaks and canoes and boats that we can take out on the lake. And there is our beachfront. We have a floating dock. This fire pit is where we spend a lot of our evenings playing music and campfire songs and having s'mores and all that. Other questions? Like I mentioned, I'm here and available. Gail's here, Danielle is here. We are here to chat as much as you want, as little as you want. If you're having questions while you're doing shopping for gear, anything like that, you can reach out. How many kids total at camp? So each session has just about 25. And we have 6 counselors and 1 director. All right, I'll stay on, but thank you all for joining. Really appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day.